Let's go. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making G's like Mercedes-Benz. Whoa, yeah, please don't take it.
Welcome to the Pinnacle Living Podcast, helping you reach the pinnacle of both life and business. Today, joined by Mr. Jake Ratterman. How you doing, bro?
What's going on, man? Good to be here.
Dude, you are such good vibes, bro. I don't know if I've ever seen you and like it doesn't feel like you're in a good mood. If you're not, you fake it. You do a great job of faking.
I appreciate that. It's all about the mindset, right? How you wake up is how you end the day.
Dude, 100%. So you have been with Pinnacle. You just started this year.
Yeah.
Came in February.
Yeah, middle of February, yeah. Right
So-
after the convention.
Yeah, that's right. And which is a great way to start.
Yeah.
And so, dude, talk to us a little bit about how you got here. Was this your first sales gig? What were you doing prior?
Yeah, so where I started was a little bit different than most people. Traditionally, most guys start in sales, kind of work in life insurance. So I started my career off working for the fire department in San Diego. So I was working there as a marine safety department. So I was on the beaches with the lifeguarding, and then also working as an EMT as well.
Nice.
And so that's where I started just my career in, which is emergency medicine. Mm-hmm. And then quickly figured out that I did a trip to Costa Rica, ran medical clinics there, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's this massive need for people who just know nothing about medicine.
Sure.
And are just pretty much dying, and
Yeah.
no one is there to help them at all. And I was like, well, I'm not a doctor, so what can I do,
Yeah.
right? And started a company installing 911 systems in different countries around the world, and then also educating first responder and as well as emergency medicine.
That's awesome.
Yep. And then after that, I sadly lost that company and then moved into solar. And for the last year and a half, I did solar and ran a team. We traveled pretty much every state in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
Not almost every, but yeah, quite a bit.
So you're traveling quite a bit.
Yes.
Knocking doors, working leads?
So we were knocking doors,
Okay.
all door knocking. Quickly was building up the team. And I think we maxed out about like 20, 25 guys. And it was tough with traveling, Airbnbs and
Oh, yeah.
all that.
That's a rough schedule.
Oh, yeah. It was rough too, but also micromanaging 20 dudes who, all in their 20s, 30s, and obviously away from their families, constantly traveling and doing this. And so it was definitely hard, but now I'm here and figured out about life insurance at the end of last year.
And how did that happen? What was your introduction to life insurance?
Yeah, so I just had a buddy of mine who was in solar, and he was like, dude, I think I might do life insurance. And I was like, what are you even talking about, dude? Like, we're in solar right now. That's where all my brain is at.
Right.
And he's like, no, man, like, you should look into life insurance. And he's like, this is a pretty cool thing. You can build your book of business. You're in control of everything. There's no site surveys that you're having to go out to and, make sure that they go through. There's no credit checks. It's controlling your business, buying your own leads. Mm-hmm. And he's like, dude, the residuals in the commission is crazy. And I was like, dude, no, like I don't need to be sold on this right now.
Right.
And I just put it on the back burner for so long. And I pretty much like at the end of my solar journey, just had some improper expectations set with me by the company that I was with, and ended up losing quite a bit of money, and pretty much felt like I was screwed over. Just had, my last company that I lost, and just kind of at square one.
Why does that, real quick,
Yeah.
because I want to touch on a couple things, because obviously Pinnacle gets a ton of people coming from the solar space.
Yeah.
And I think there's a few big reasons why. First off, talk about, because obviously people can make a ton of money in solar.
Yeah.
Right? Like just as a sales agent without a team, you can make several $100,000 a year.
Of course.
But a lot of it is prospecting, right? A lot of door to door.
Right.
There's a lot of fulfillment, you know, like I did door to door sales for 10 years. Solar was one of the things I never did, but I understand when it comes to something needs to be installed. And if something with that doesn't go well, that affects my commission, just like I made the mistake installing it myself.
Right.
And sometimes there's delays you can't control. Maybe you make a big deal. Maybe you wait. Dude, I've heard of people in solar waiting as much as a year.
Right.
So
to understand your question, really, it's just asking yourself, how long can you get paid monopoly money?
Right.
Really is what it is. How much can you get paid money that floats into the abyss, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it was I couldn't do that for much longer, right? And that, like you just said, it is a construction project, and so you're selling a construction project on somebody's home. So, you know, even if you ask yourself, well, what am I actually in control of? Okay. Well, I'm in control of only one thing, and that is the initial conversation between you and the homeowner, signing the documentation, and the rest is left up to the installer, and the rest is left up to the city. The next is left up to the permitting office, and then you've got the installers. Now the installers have got to go through all their processes, and inevitably then at the very end, then you get paid once it's on the roof. And then there's a laundry list of things that happens after the install goes. Oh, I had leaks on my roof. Oh, where's my warranty? The panel's broken. Oh, you guys only installed 30 panels. I thought I had 35. There is a laundry list of that.
Oh my gosh.
Right? When you sell a policy here and you help a family, it's one and done.
Right.
Right? But also, it's not only one and done, you're there for them forever, but they're not calling you, twice a week afterwards saying,
a page fell out of my
policy. Exactly right. Or I only got half my policy packet in the mail.
Right.
Right. Or, the insurance company only gave me half the death benefit. Everything is executed by you as the individual and your control over everything.
Yeah.
And that's why when I was coming out of that space, that is what drew me so heavily to this, is holy cow, I'm literally in control of everything. And, the only variable, and I tell this to everybody that I see and who is in solar or in any other sales, is at what point in your life are you going to understand that an industry that you want to be in is an industry where everything that you put into it is exactly what you're going to get out of it. And if you can ask yourself that question about the industry you're in, then you should be in that industry. But most people in sales can't actually answer that question.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much.
That's a beautiful point, dude. So, and dude, one last thing about this, and this is something I'm genuinely curious about, because the way you entered that, you're like, dude, some things, expectations weren't met.
Yeah.
I felt like money that should have been mine was taken.
Yeah.
I feel like I hear that a ton from the solar industry too. And without a shadow of a doubt, someone who's watching this is going to experience something like that. Why do you think that happens in that industry so much?
I mean, I think you got to understand, the basic principle of the sale, right? If everybody in that industry is essentially starving, right? If you've got 70% of the industry and the rest of the 30% are actually doing good and have a lot of deals in their pipeline, but if you got 70% of that industry who essentially is just waiting and waiting and waiting on paychecks and constantly being disappointed, what that's going to consume is negative thoughts and negative behaviors, right? And inevitably, that's where it comes from. And, what we're doing in this is far different from what we're doing in solar. If you actually want to break it down, I mean, my biggest principles in life are always morals and ethics. I put that before everything. And if you want to break it down to the very minute aspect of the job, most sales are a sacrifice of morals and ethics in most other industries. And there's a reason for that. Is because, do you actually know what you're actually giving to the person, and is that actually helping them? And in solar, you really break it down, most of the time what you're doing is not actually helping the client. Most of the time you're selling to a family who doesn't know that they're getting a massive loan, who doesn't understand that that's reporting to their debt to income, that doesn't understand that that's going to hurt their credit, that doesn't understand that it's a construction project and other things and variables could happen. That's not something that's explained.
Sure.
And I think that within that all mess, it just really comes down to, number one, what are you providing and what services are you providing to the client? But also, how is that business being run and how profitable, and essentially, how are the agents being treated? Yeah. And if that's not cohesive, then the whole business is not going to run correctly, right? Everything's going to fall off of it.
Dude, that's a great point. And I mean, I think focusing on when you're in an industry or somewhere, I guess I should say, where people are not making money, people get desperate.
Yeah.
Like I had somebody is actually a great agent here who came from another IMO where they didn't have leads. And she was telling me about, she was really getting after it, brought these people, and it was one of those places where you talk to your cousin, your uncle, your friend,
give me your
their
dogs,
friends,
your dog's brothers.
Yeah,
friends.
exactly. And so, and her upline was taking, not only was her commission very small, but she was also taking like half the commission of the sale. And that just like blew my mind. I got so angry when I heard it. And then I was thinking, well, dude, that person was probably broke too.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just kind of a broken
it all stems.
formula.
Yep.
So dude, coming from that, so talk about, so did your friend get you into insurance? What did that look like? How'd you get in here?
Yeah. So someone on my solar team who actually is in this office right now, Jordan Kramer, shout out to you, man. Like, he's the one who told me about insurance.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then after that, I pretty much just reached out to 16 different companies and was like really sourcing for it. And it's so funny because the initial point of contact, which was Jonah Lewis, if you guys don't know who that is, he's a stud. He's the one who pretty much answered every question. And I asked him like 1,020 bajillion questions, and he answered all of them. And, what's funny too is because he showed up 15 minutes late to our meeting, and I was like, okay, what's going on, man? It FaceTimes me, hey, dude, I can't. But once I got to meet him and understood his integrity and understood the amount of effort I could really tell that he was going to pour into me, that's really what mattered. Because for me, it was like, I tell everyone this. If you're looking for any sales career, any agency, you should look for these 3 things. And I tell every single person that I ever bring on them. I said, the first thing you should look for is mentorship. That is the sole focus that you should be, wanting to be in a business, because that's going to help you develop faster. That's going to help you scale faster, and that's going to help you be more successful faster, right? 2 is leads, right? Leads are the lifeblood of our company, the lifeblood of your business. We are so lucky to be able to provide and buy and purchase our own leads. Why? Is because you can control your income, right?
Yeah.
You can control how much you make and how the intent of the leads, all of that. That's so important. And then 3rd is culture.
Yeah.
Culture is everything. When you're a part of a culture where no one's hiding the secret sauce,
right?
No one's saying, hey, dude, I can't, can't give you this because of my upline or whatever it is. The biggest thing is if you step into this office right now or just into Pinnacle and why, I mean, heck, when I figured out that you do what you do as far as, the orphanages and everything, I knew that if someone is leading this company like yourself, then the morals and the ethics and everything's going to follow and trickle down. And for me, that was also a selling point when coming into Pinnacle, was understanding that culture of everyone is here for each other and everyone wants to see each other succeed. And that to me is everything. And I tell agents, I'm like, hey, if you're looking not only in Pinnacle, but any other agency, look for those 3 things. Because that's what I would have told myself being in the position I am now and what to look for.
Dude, you said that so beautifully, dude. I want to put it on a commercial.
Hey, I didn't smile enough, but maybe a little.
I mean, what you said, I look at the culture, let's just say in this office here in Chicago, the Prosper Pinnacle office in Chicago. It's like, dude, you walk in, there's good training in the morning. People are taking care of themselves. Yeah. People are in a good mood. Like that is, and people are winning, right? Like that's important because, dude, being a business owner is hard. It's a lot of work, and there's ups and downs, and there's going to be days where you come in and, dude, you don't feel like you're winning that day. No. So if you're not in the right environment, like it really hurts you.
It does.
It really hurts you.
It does.
And, dude, you're just like a staple in this office, bro. You can't, I don't know if you knew this. It was in the lease that you signed. You can't leave.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Jonah made that quite aware. No,
like, yeah. But, dude, talking about leads.
Yeah.
From someone, both of us, coming from the door-to-door industry.
Yeah.
I feel silly saying this because I was in sales for 10 years. I really didn't know what a lead was. I think the closest thing I had to a lead was a couple of the companies I worked at for door-to-door would have like, people that they knew used to be customers.
Right.
So you had some of their information.
Right.
But, maybe they hated the company after they canceled. Like you had no idea. So you would like go to them knowing a little bit of info and be like, try to get them back. But as far as someone who just raised their hand and was like, I need insurance.
Right.
for something. Like that was completely foreign to me. And dude, I'll never forget when it clicked. I had been at a captive agency where we didn't have any leads. My biggest week there ever was 8,000 AP. And you would think I would be super happy. My average week was like 1,500. Right. I remember writing that 8,000, but dude, I was actually depressed because I was like, I'm not going to be able to hit this again.
Right.
I was like, so many, like the stars aligned for me to hit this.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just not predictable. And sure enough, next week I did like my normal 1,500. Dude, my second week in the IMO space, in the broker space, I wrote 7,000. And I remember walking into that first door, which I didn't even sell that week, but my first one. And the lady's like, "You're the insurance guy." And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Come on in. We've been waiting for you."
That's awesome.
And I was like, "You know I'm here for insurance." Like I wasn't used to that.
Gosh,
and that just like, I was like, after that week, I was like, not only can I do this every week, but I'm like, dude, I just started.
Yeah.
How good am I going to be a year from now?
Right.
2 years from now?
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful thing. What was it like leads for you coming into this space?
I mean, yeah, I think with anyone coming into this space with leads is, you know, obviously, and I like to point this out because it's very huge to do this because there's a lot of people in this situation is, you know, let's just say you came off of some sort of sales job. You know, you're coming from solar, right? Let's just say, and you're not in the best situation financially, and the best, you know, I guess, you know, your mindset is, oh, I don't know, spending money on leads, like what, you know, maybe what am I going to do? Is coming from the perspective of, you know, dude, I literally just came in and Jonah just said, "Jake, do this." And I just did it, and I just put the money down. You know, I didn't. Of course, there's an initial fear, but I think, you know, I was not in the best situation financially, but I still listened. But I tell people is what we're doing by buying leads is we're not just buying leads. We're investing in ourselves,
right? And
we're investing in our business. And if you can change your mindset to that, right? You know, I always tell people, like, if you put $500 down now, $1,000 in leads, whatever it is, and you're telling me that in 4, 5, 6 months, 7 months, you could be making 20, 25, you know, 15K a month in actual profit.
Yeah.
Would you put that initial $500 in leads?
Yeah.
What was that? Of course I would. Then do it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the problem is, like, people don't understand, but it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about everybody else. What is everybody else doing? They're doing the same thing. They're putting the $500, $1,000 in leads, and they're investing in themselves. You don't need any more external gratification than that.
Yeah.
There's no more solid proof than everybody around you is getting that same result who's actually investing themselves.
Right.
And I mean, that's all I did. Is I didn't look at Jonah as someone who, you know, when I first joined, I wasn't looking at him because obviously he was writing like a maniac, but I wasn't looking at him as someone to follow. I was looking at everybody else and seeing their success. And that's what I really challenge people to do is, like, don't look at the top producer.
Yeah.
Look at everybody else.
Right.
Right. And everybody else is doing the same thing. They're investing in themselves. And so taking that mindset and really shifting it, I realized something super important was, yeah, with leads, of course, we can invest in them. And people are raising their hands. When I first called the lead and the lady said, "Oh, yeah, no one talked to us about that." Oh, okay. Grab a pen and paper.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, okay, great. You know, that's a laydown. But, you know, anyone coming from solar is, yes, you're getting your teeth kicked in, and door to door is great for learning how to get your teeth kicked in. But if you really want something that's sustainable, where you can actually create a career, I don't know anyone in life who's ever created a business but not investing in their business.
Right.
Right. So in solar, you know, you're not really investing anything beside your time, right? Your money may be in like courses or things, but like your time is valuable.
Right.
So coming into this, it was definitely a little bit foreign to me to investing in sales, but it wasn't foreign to me in investing in my business because I'd owned a business before this.
Yeah.
And so understanding that concept will take you from being a little bit skittish to being really confident investing in yourself.
Dude, and you said it there again. You said it multiple times. I think that investing in yourself, dude, I don't know what your background is, like how you grew up. For me, I grew in a very poverty-stricken community.
Yeah.
And the concept of investing yourself in that community is a completely foreign idea. Like, I remember when I first heard about leads, I was like, that's ridiculous. Why would I ever spend money? And then I didn't think, because I'm like, dude, I'm writing normally 1,500 AP a week if I spend $1,000 on leads. Now I only have 500. Right. Like the concept, like, oh, if you invest in yourself, if you give yourself more opportunity, you'll do way more. Yeah. And the idea of me, and I just want to highlight this point that you made because it was so good. Mm-hmm. The idea of me doing that, writing 5, 10K, 15, 20K a week.
Right.
Like, that was hard for me to do a month. To do that a week was such a foreign concept. The only way it even entered my belief system was because I saw other people doing it. Yeah. And you're like my mentor, who was a top performer, but then other people, like you said. And like, like this thought couldn't get out of my head, which was, if they can do it, why not me?
Right.
I could not get that thought out of my head. And even my first week, I felt flat on my face. Yeah. But like the whole week, it just was like louder and louder. Like, because part of me wanted to give up because it was hard. And the rest of me was just like, but dude, why not me? Right. Like, these guys are crushing it. Dude, what was your first month like? First day hitting the phones, first week. Do you remember?
Oh, I remember. Yeah. My first week was at the lock-in. I think I wrote, I think it was
the one right after convention.
No, so the convention, one right after convention. Correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was like my first real week. I think the week before that, I just kind of dialed here and there. I was just really waiting for the convention was my biggest thing. But yeah, my first real week, which I would say the convention, was honestly comical. It was, it was honestly one of the biggest learning points, and I learned it from you. And I tell everybody this is I was pretty much like that guy who came from solar, right? I was like, it's a sale, right? It's a sale. And when I was calling these people, it was like, John, you need an IUL because your family is this and this and this, like the complete opposite, and just going way off track. And like eventually I'd get people and like, John, hypothetically, if you pass away, just like going off the rails, like honestly. And I wasn't using any tactic. I was just kind of freeballing it, right? And then you came to the lock-in and you had your talk and you said, I think someone asked a question and you said, the best person who will always win in the sale is the person who asks the most questions. And I was like, dude, like, I don't know, you know, if you just took God's hand and you just placed it on my head, dude, but like I grew wings in that moment. And I think that lock-in I wrote 9K.
Heck yeah, dude.
And what happened was I just changed and completely flipped the way that I was trying to sell, because the best thing about insurance is it's not a sale, right? And if you believe it's a sale, you're never going to get the sale. And here's a reason, is because in insurance, the end of the day, you're helping the family and you're really putting them in the best position humanly possible. But if they believe it's a sale, it's over, right? They want to feel like they're helped, because that's our job, right? Our job is to help. So they need to feel helped, not sold. Right. So once I understood that logic and understood when you said, the person who answers the most or asks the most question wins, I completely changed. And I was like, I can't convince these people, right? It's not a sale. All I have to do is just ask the appropriate questions to paint the picture of what I want them to see, right? While still giving the illusion that they're in control, but really I'm just painting the picture of, how I want them to view something. And then inevitably, once they see that value, then the process is easy after that, right? But I can't build value by telling them why it's important. Like, I always get new agents like, well, John, you know that this is going to pay off your home and this is really going to help you and your daughter is going to be in a good... Bro, he's not going to buy from you. Okay. But if you say, John, now you change it, I'm assuming that, obviously it was important to you that if we found something comfortable and affordable that would pay off the home, making sure your daughter's in a good situation financially, I'm assuming that'd be extremely important to you, right? Right. You see how completely different.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I learned. And that's what changed me, honestly.
Dude, and you know what is so frustrating? I'd love for you to speak on this for new agents, and probably hit you hard too, is that doesn't affect what you do for the client. Like, the agent sees the situation first, because even if you're not making a lot of sales, you're like, okay, this is how this product would have helped this person in this way. And the first thing, like, we see it, we're trying to push it on the client. It feels super salesy.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel custom to them. It doesn't feel like we're listening, and so they don't get it. And then when you're asking all those questions, you're connecting. Yeah. They understand that you understand. Yeah. And you're bringing them to a higher level of understanding. You might have used the same IUL product on both situations.
Yeah.
It's not the products, it's not the solution, it's the perception of the client and of the agent and how they're talking to them.
100%. 1,000%. And once that realize that everything is built off of trust, and you have to maintain that professionalism the entire way through the sale. And I feel like some people, because what I noticed in the beginning is I was building way too much rapport. I was like, yeah, John, I wasn't even into the FI yet. Yeah. It's like, dude, chill out, right? But trying
to make this person my best friend.
Right. But I remember because we have live dials here, right, where you just unmute and everyone's able to hear you and give you criticism, which is huge. When I first got in, I was unmuting all the time, and Jonah was like, dude, you are building way too much rapport in the beginning, right? Like, this isn't solar, man, right? And this is where it's changed, and I encourage every agent to really, really look at themselves and make sure that they're embodying this and I tell everyone this, and I probably sound like a broken record, but you are a professional. In the moment that you view yourself as a professional, you will go so far in this industry. And the reason is because if you maintain that professionalism and you understand that this family is trusting you, is trusting you with their future, is trusting you with the livelihood of their children, is trusting you with making sure that they have the peace of mind at night, that they know that their kids are safe and won't have any burden. If you understand that professionalism, you're going to change the entire way that you dictate that dictate that sale. The entire way.
Sure.
And that's what I tell folks or any agent coming in is you really need to focus on that professionalism and drive home that understanding that you are that individual who's going to help that family. And if you keep morals and ethics and that family's education and knowledge of what you're helping them with, if you keep that in the front of your mind, there's no backing out of that.
You know what you just made me think of, and I think you made me think about it in a different way than anyone else because of your background as a firefighter and lifeguard. Jake, so many times, and I'm sure you've seen this with your agents coming in, people have trouble having that confidence with clients that I am a professional, I'm the person, because they're like, dude, I just got my license. I still feel like I don't know all the answers. Like they don't feel qualified to help anybody. But I mean, if you're in the right position and you have the right tools, you are the professional to help somebody. And I think what perfectly illustrates that, dude, when you were a firefighter, lifeguard, how old were you?
I was, I did it from 19 to 21.
Were you ever in a position where you saved somebody?
Oh, 100%.
Many times?
Many, many, many times.
Well, dude, how many people could have made that same excuse? Oh, I'm 19.
Right.
I'm going to save somebody's life.
Right.
I'm going to put out a fire. I'm going to stop someone from drowning. Yeah. If you have the right tools and you're in the right position to do so, you are the professional.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter that you had only been doing it for how long had you been doing that first time before you kind of were called to that level of action?
Yeah. So, I mean, I got my EMT license when I was 18, and that's when I went to Costa Rica, did the medical clinics. And then when I was 19 is when I was looking for an EMT job. And then I found the city of Encinitas in San Diego. And, I started working for them. And then I worked all the way up until I was about 22 when I started my company. And so I worked for about three years consecutively doing that. And I think you make a good point in saying that, yes, the fire department helps a lot, or just being in that situation of high stress where you have to uphold yourself to that professionalism, right? But I think really where it hit me, honestly, is yes, in those moments of, you've got a 50-year-old dude who's fearing for his life, right? And you're in a massive high stress situation, and now he's looking to you for help, right? And now you've got to not be tunnel visioned, right? Be good on your feet, execute, know exactly what to do, but also maintain communication. Yeah. Because that's the biggest thing is, yes, you're in the most high stress level situation for that person, but you can't absorb that. Yeah. You can't absorb the high level of stress, because if you do, it's gone. Right. It's over, right? So you have to train your brain when someone's in a high level of stress to completely emotionally detach yourself from that human and know exactly what to do and do not hyper focus. Because a lot of EMTs and guys can relate to this. They get tunnel vision.
Sure.
Like, oh my gosh, I know what to do. I'm going to do this. But you've got to be aware of your surroundings. You've got to be aware of what's going on and how that individual is feeling as well, and maintain proper communication.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where I learned a lot of the skills of, being a professional. But also it came down to as well, and this is a funny story I love to share, is, I was 22 years old, having this company, but a lot of the times when we would go to different countries to install these 911 systems, a great example is Nicaragua. They're a communist country.
Yeah.
Okay. So, they actually banned nonprofit organizations right before we came there.
Whoa.
Because they thought that the government was going to develop, or they were going to develop civil societies to overthrow the government, which was huge. I'm like, okay, we got to, so we had to change the entire direction of our project, the entire direction of everything. But when I realized, these moments of professionalism, I had to go into federal agents' offices in Nicaragua and pretty much sell them this opportunity, because they didn't understand, right? They didn't understand the importance of a 911 system. They didn't understand the importance of first responders or any sort of medical education. So as a 20-year-old, right, it's kind of a shock, not only to be in someone's completely different culture, leading this group of individuals who are way older than you, looking at a 22-year-old, all these paramedics, doctors, nurses, whoever it is, coming and looking at you for leadership. But also you're going into this office with a completely foreign person who's a federal agent of the country. And you now have to propose yourself and act in that professional manner. And I think that's when I realized that it doesn't matter your age. It has nothing to do with your age. People look at you of how you hold yourself and how you speak, and also the confidence in the conviction that you possess.
Yeah.
And once I learned that, right, and it's a very culture shock for someone in their 20s or early 20s.
Sure. Have people looking at you that
way. Right. When you got some 50-year-old federale looking at you, right? Like, hey man, what are you doing in my office, dude? And you're presenting this. It's very scary. But those situations honestly really helped cultivate this understanding of professionalism. And what I relate that back to is everyone has their own experiences. Not everyone's going to go to the fire department. Not everyone's going to do that and present that to a federal agent. But what I really mean to say is it really comes down to mindset, and it really comes down to your confidence in yourself. And there are ways and methods to actually produce confidence that are outside of just normal experiences that you have, right? It's the day-to-day actions, right? It's the gratitude. It's the self-love. It's the understanding how to develop skills. And really, when I come to it down, not to ramble, is essentially like not looking for opportunities for money, but looking opportunities as a way to grow. And if you look at things as a way to grow, you're never going to have a negative experience in your life.
Yeah.
Because if you look at everything as an experience that's developing you as a person you are today, everything that you've done in the past was for a good reason. Nothing was negative. And honestly, those experiences in my life have taught me that. And if anyone could come into sales and come in and crush it, or feel the need to have confidence in themselves, they really need to just view it, hey, look, wherever you're at in your life, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're okay. You're gonna be okay. But you have to start viewing and loving yourself and understanding that, hey, everything is an experience and you're on your own journey. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 50, or 20. You're on your own journey.
Yeah.
And you're going to figure it out, and you're going to develop those skills.
Dude, you know what you're making me think of as you're going down that path of logic is how many agents, one of the reasons they get overwhelmed is they feel like, oh, I'm going to mess up.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anything. I'm going to tell these people the wrong information. And I can like see that being applied to an EMT. Like, oh, I'm going to mess up and not help somebody. That level of pressure, like people's lives are on the line. And I think a couple points to that. For one, to your point, coming into where the training and the mentorship is where it needs to be is one of the most important things, because you need to know that the people supporting you, and that's what helped me. Like my mentor coming in, I'll never forget, had a very full dial day. I probably dialed for like 10 hours, 500 plus dials, had like 17 appointments set up the next 2 days. And I was like overwhelmed. I was like, I don't even know what to tell these people. And I'll never forget him saying like, hey, I got your back. I'm not going to let you fail. Like I'm going to be with you in every appointment. And I was like, okay, that gave me, it's like a sigh of relief. It was like, okay, I have an expert helping me.
Yeah.
So that's really important. But then, dude, on top of that, like, there's so many people that aren't even going to get a chance at that help.
Yeah.
And like the need for people to do it on a high level and to do it well. Like I think about my own grandfather.
Yeah.
So my grandfather was a World War II vet, thought that the VA was going to pay for his funeral, thought that, you know, my grandmother was going to get all of his benefits, his VA benefits, his union benefits, all his Social Security. Well, dude, I mean, you know what happened.
Yep.
You know, he passed. They didn't pay for his funeral.
Yeah.
She got a fraction of the benefits. And to my knowledge, I don't think they ever talked to somebody about life insurance. No. It's like, dude, I wouldn't have cared if it was a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, hope it was somebody that was doing their job well. Like, I would have loved Jake Ratterman to talk to him and be like, hey, this is your situation. This would really help.
Yeah.
And when you think about it that way, when you stop being scared of making mistakes and start realizing the need of people for you to learn to do it right.
Yeah.
And that the only way you're going to do it is go out there and do your very best every day.
That's all you can do.
And if you got the support that you need, like, dude, just go out there and do it.
Right. I think that speaks to so many different things in people's situations, is that scarcity mindset, right? Is like, oh, you know, I don't know everything. Dude, you're never going to know everything. Even, you know, the president of the United States or any sort of high government official who is looked up to, you know, in any sort of regard doesn't know everything. That's why you use your resources, right? And you use the people around you to build that mentorship, so that way you can know the things that you want to learn. But like coming into any sales, like I get so many agents come up to me like, dude, I don't know all the carriers, bro. Like, I don't know. It's like, dude, we're here for you. Yeah. We're here to help you. Just get them into the financial inventory. Let's see their situation. And then I'm here to help you, guide you through that process. You're never going to learn everything at first. But like you said, it's those moments where you just take the leap of faith, where you just say, hey, look, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to put my full mindset and involvement into this, and I'm just going to go for it. And it takes that level of commitment with anything in life. Like if I, being 22 in that, you know, let's just say, for example, me being 19 and having someone, let's say, bleeding out in front of me, right? Like, you know, being in that situation before, I was scared, scared, you know, excuse my language. All right. I just won't even go there, but yeah, but scared to pretty much where there was some, you know, something in my pants afterwards, right? Yeah. Where it's scared to that extent, but I had to understand that I can't show that. Right. Because this is higher than me. This is more important than me. Right. Same thing in the business that we do. This is more important than you. This is someone else's family. Right. It's not a transaction. Right. This isn't saving people's money on their power bill. Yeah. Right. And that's where it has to come into concept, is understanding and conceptualizing that importance will really set you free and allow you to excel. Yeah. And I think people really need to know that.
Dude, 100%. Dude, now you are, okay, I'm doing the math in my head, 8 months in. Just finished about, 8 months. Yeah. Or just about.
9, yeah.
Or 9. Yeah, 9. And about $250,000, just under, for the year. Yeah. Which your first year, phenomenal. Started in end of February. And then team doing right about $100,000 a month. Dude, so you kind of came in guns blazing a little bit, right? You're like, dude, I'm going to write on a high level. I want to recruit a team. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned this past year?
Yeah. And you know what, Gabe, and I appreciate that, but I think it wouldn't be fair to me or to you to not point out something that's actually very important. I think some people need to hear is, it wasn't always guns blazing. Sure. Okay. Like most people think, oh, Jake, like, you know, oh my God, you do this, like whatever. It's, you know, it wasn't about that. And actually it's quite the contrary. Is I had a life where I had built myself to have this self-image of, you know, being this outdoor guy, being this dude who's going to go help save the world, whatever it is. Right. Cause I just cared so much about people and making an impact. And that's what fired me up. And I was never fired up financially. I did not give a darn about money. I just didn't. That's why I literally built a nonprofit, right? Because I didn't care about money. I cared about investing in other people.
Right.
And so when I came into this, it was kind of this 360 flip where I don't think I was investing 100% into myself, because I was still, you know, to be honest, coming off of that, you know, losing my company, understanding like where I was going in my direction. But here's something that I tell people, and you know, honestly speaks to me, and I said it at our sales summit, is not only understanding they're going to be okay, but also understanding that, you know, people are always like, dude, I don't know my purpose, man. I don't know why I'm here. That's okay. Most people don't know why they're here either. But the biggest thing is you create your why. Right? Your why isn't given to you. Your purpose isn't given to you. It's not dawned upon you. You have to create it. But you also have to work hard to create it. And that's something that I honestly kind of had to just do this identity crisis thing that I kind of came through when coming into this. And to be honest, it was really tough for me. You know, I lived in a van. You know, I was doing the van life. I was a surfer. You know, I was by the beach. You know, I had this. You know, now I'm going to an office. Right, I'm not outside. You know, it's very different. But for me, what I really realized in getting back to it is you really have to create that reality for yourself, and you're the one to blame at the very end of the day. You don't blame anybody else. There's no, the situation, the circumstances, like where you're at, it's all because of you.
Yeah.
And once you start looking at that and blaming yourself,
yeah,
and being like, look, dude, I got to make this work, because if I don't work hard in anything, how the heck are you going to find what your purpose is?
Yeah.
Right. And really when it dawned on me was honestly like, you know, maybe 6 months ago when I went into Jonah's office, I said, dude, like, money is not motivating me. It's just not. And I don't know how much longer. And he's like, dude, well, what motivates you, man? And I was like, well, people. Like, you know, I've always kind of lived by this, is live life for others, because what's life without them, right? And that's how I tell him, is like, I love pouring into people, and I love helping people succeed in life. And he's like, dude, why can't you do that here? And I was like, you're right. This is the best vehicle that I could genuinely feel comfortable putting someone in, and understanding that as long as they work hard, the trajectory of success is imminent and it's right in front of them.
Yeah.
And that's now where my complete and utter focus has completely transitioned to, is just pouring into people and understanding that that's where my value is. At the end of the day, what fires me up when I wake up in the morning is just doing it for the person next to me and the agent in front of me. And it doesn't matter if they're on my team or not on my team, right? I'm still there to fire up and to help them and help them succeed. And I think that people need to hear that, because it's not always roses, right? Just because you see someone successful, the biggest problem we do in life is we compare ourselves to people. And that comparison is, sometimes it can be good, it can fire you up, but most of the times it leads to negativity, where you're pushing yourself like, oh, I have to be like that. No, you don't. You're on your own path, but as long as you work hard, you will figure out that purpose. And I think that is probably the biggest lesson that I've learned in being here, is just put my head down, work hard. In an industry like this, the purpose will come, the why will come.
Yeah.
You just have to trust in the process.
Dude, a couple things, man, you just dropped some gold there. A couple things I want to highlight. The personal responsibility piece. I think people hate hearing it.
Yeah.
And that's probably me projecting. I hated hearing it for the longest time, because going back to the way I was raised, dude, I think this didn't click for me until, like, dude, I was probably in my mid-20s before I really understood the flaw in the way that I was thinking. But dude, growing up in a very impoverished community, whenever I came across somebody that had more, or that was making more money, or that was very successful, I had built-in excuses for why it couldn't be me. I was like, well, I'm sure their parents were rich, or they got taught this by this person, or they just grew up with this skill, or they just knew how to do this. And it was, dude, it was like a part of who I was.
Yeah.
Like, it really was. Like, I never acknowledged it for what it was. I couldn't even see it.
Yeah.
Because it was like literally just my brain. It was like hard wiring.
Right.
And then I remember the way it was explained to me that really like broke that, or started to break it to where I could think differently.
Right.
And it was, whenever you blame an outside force for a problem, you completely take away your ability to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, well, that thing, that person, that circumstance has power over me. It's outside of my control.
Yep.
And so I can't make a change. But when you take responsibility, like I think what you said, like, dude, 10 years ago, dude, would have really bothered me.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, why is he saying blame himself so much? Blame me. Like, it sounds like depressing. But no, what that is empowering.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, dude, I'm responsible for the things I don't like in my life.
Yep.
And what you just did is you put the power to change those things in your own hands.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, dude, I can make a difference. If it's in my power, if I did it, that means I can change it.
Right.
And make a difference.
And I think that what that testament goes to as well is people think, like you said, natural born skill. This dude was born to do sales, man. That is not true. And I know maybe some people think that natural sales or natural talent is a thing, but to be honest, I don't believe it. I believe that everything is comprised of the experiences that you've accumulated over your life. Like people are like, oh, dude, how do you communicate so well, Jake? Dude, growing up, I can't tell you how many times I argued with my parents every single day of my life and debated with them to try and outsmart them. Like that is what helped me develop my communication skills. Also, like, the risks that I took in my life and the experiences that I've been through, like that I don't even want to talk about, like that are, life-changing and traumatic. Like those experiences are what have made me, want to invest myself and have honestly built me up. And it's like, you can't become naturally or good at anything if you don't want to build up those experiences. But how do you think those experiences are even made?
Yeah.
Right? They're not just luck. You have to invest in them. And like you said, you're in full control of everything. And I think when that also dawned on me was when I lost my company and when it was like my baby, something I loved and cherished. And when it was pretty much taken from me, when I had no control over that. But you know what I tell myself, and after that, is I did have control over that, right? And the moment I stopped curdling in a ball and just being in my own stress bubble and saying, look, I was in control of that. The only way I'm going to move forward is if I just accept, I forgive everybody, and I move on with my life. And that's what I did. And it took every ounce of energy inside me, but it was such a great learning experience. And I challenge anyone, whoever's in a hole in their life, a place where they don't want to be. Think about this. Think about the happiest moment you've been in your life, right? If that just happened right now, would you be feeling the way that you feel? Probably not, right? I tell agents who come in, dude, I get a sale all day, man. Like, I don't know about this. Like, dude, when's the last time you got a sale? Yesterday. Okay, right? It's like if you had just got a sale, would you be feeling the way you feel right now? No? Okay. So change that mindset, right? And understand that you have to develop yourself if you want to be successful. Exactly what you said.
I think that power over your own perspective is what you're teaching agents in that moment is so strong too. Remember that happening for me. It wasn't even my mentor. It was just a top producer. And I was bewailing a bad week.
Yeah.
And the previous week had been pretty good. And that person, and I was like, dude, this week sucks. And da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And they're like, what'd you do last week? And it'd been like one of my biggest weeks. I was like, I had like 13,000. And they're like, before you did this, how much were you making?
Right.
Like in a month.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know, like $4,000 or $5,000. They're like, okay. So you made more in 1 week than you normally would make in a month. So literally, if every other week in the month were bad, you'd still be way better than you were. I was like, yeah, I guess I really didn't think about it.
So
quite like that. But that dude, this has just been a master class on entrepreneurial mindset, which every top producer I've ever talked to has agreed that their mindset is the most valuable tool they have to be successful, whether that be as an individual producer or as a team builder. So, dude, Jake, thank you so much, dude.
Of course, man.
This has been phenomenal.
No, I appreciate everything. Thank you so much.
You're such, and I don't know, I'm sure it gets said to you, but dude, legitimately, you are such a great spirit and attitude. You're a huge part of Pinnacle, of the Chicago office.
Thank you.
So, you're going to have to, pay a significant amount of money before you break your lease here.
No, I will. Don't worry. I'm invested. And I want to say too, like, this is something that I'm so excited to be a part of a family like this, people who truly care. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it shows in everything that you and Joe do. And, and I tell people this, and if I could leave anyone with anything right now, I would say is wherever you're at in your life. And I tell people this all the time is just be okay with where you're at. Understand that you're okay of where you are, and just understand that tomorrow is a better day, and live that tomorrow, and understand that whatever. And I want to just touch on this. I won't go too long. Is someone who says this a really great analogy to me is this guy who was 57 years old talking to this 25-year-old. He says, think of our life like a ribbon, right? Our life is a ribbon. My ribbon is a hell of a lot shorter than yours, right? I mean, he's 25, he's 57. He said, but here's the thing, is my ribbon and your ribbon, if you get sick, if you get ill, it just shreds, right? And it just gets shorter and shorter. If anything happens in your life, it gets shorter, shorter, shorter. The biggest thing is live each day like you're on steroids, because you never, ever, ever know when that ribbon is going to be frayed. You never know when that ribbon's going to be shorter. Because right now, my ribbon's way shorter than yours. And I can tell you, when I'm 25, I wish that I lived on steroids. And that to me is such a profound thing. And I just want everybody to kind of take that, hopefully by watching this and coming to a conclusion, take that into tomorrow.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, well, I think every lesson, what did my pastor used to say something growing up. He would say, whenever you live a truth, you preach a message a mile long.
Yeah.
And so, dude, you live it, dude, with the way that you give to others and this organization. So thank you so much, bro.
No worries, bro. Thanks a lot, Gabe. I appreciate you guys.
Guys, thank you so much for hopping on. God bless. Have a great rest of your day.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Whoa, yeah. Please don't take it.